Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna Yisrael, being on time Amuna Yisrael. This is a fresh review of the Underground right after. I have a practice of actually watching it twice. So this is late, so please excuse the low tone in my voice. That's not to take away from the fact that the agitation of this episode, yeah. In light of, if you're following the LEV Project, again, this is LEV Project review of The Underground, a very popular show that's picking up speed. But as I'm watching the tweets, I don't really think that a lot of people are really understanding what they're viewing. But once we get out of the just the emotions of these characters, we understand that this is a broader narrative of many people's experience in slavery. So let me just get into it because this one is fresh off the dome. In light of Child Abuse Awareness Month, which is this month, the month of April, 10 more days to go in this month, this episode for me is focusing on the lives of children as slaves. And in the LEV Project, we're reading a book called Growing Up in Slavery, which it has 10 different narratives, and I'm really going to finish getting on it, where the children are sharing their experiences as a child and what was expected of them as a child. So in this episode, the young boy who before was sheltered by his mother's exploits with the master, there is a hindrance in that plan, which is the mother is regaining some consciousness. Her daughter has run away. Rosalie has run away. Ernestine is not really feeling the whole wooing the master. The reverend is there, which is making it difficult. And now the young boy who the reverend has found out may be a product of their cohabitation and her being a, quote, Jezebel, has, volunteered in so a way that this young boy, James, I think his name, go in the field. So this is his first experience from no longer being the playmate of his half brother from the same father and a different mother to going into the field and picking cotton. And you know what I just feel is wow is the quota that these Europeans had on you picking or doing work of which you were not being paid for. And if you did not meet this quota, which is what we're seeing in this scene, or leading up to what happens after this scene, is that you are chastised, you are beat. And this also applied to children who were not able. So it's not only, oh, you better pick this cotton, or you better pick whatever this rice, or whatever the case may be. Not only do they say you better pick it, if you don't meet your quota, I'ma beat you. And so his brother Sam understands that he's in a rough predicament, being that he grew up in the house. And this is the young boy. You can see they have his face getting sunburned. They have him, they cast his role really good because they're trying to project to you that he's half white by the father and half black. And he's not used to this hard labor, and he's used to being pampered in the home, sheltered by, let's just say, his mother. Let me just say that. I was trying to find another word, but I'm just going to say his mother. And she's no longer able to shelter him in this way, and he's exposed. His hands are bleeding. He's hot. He's not used to drinking the field hands water. He's not used to this strenuous physical labor under the broiling sun, whether it be the broiling sun of Georgia, Louisiana. So you want to talk about child labor laws? You want to talk about transgressing every law to humanity? That now I feel it interesting that those who were guilty, or the progenitors, the children, the great-grandchildren of those who were guilty of this very same crime, are those now who have put themselves in positions of judgment. I don't know if I'm just in that frame of mind right now, but yeah, in light of child labor laws that is still happening all over the world, in places where factories provide cheap goods for export, where other people profit off the labor of children, they still have sweatshops. They still have places where children, in order to support their family, not necessarily this level of abject poverty or slavery, where you don't have any free will, but in an attempt to kind of maintain themselves, they succumb to what we see the young boy going under right now. So I'm going to go forward here and take a look at when they're now lining up in the line. His brother doesn't want him to get whipped. because he know what's going to come, and he's saying, boy, this boy is not going to be able to sustain this. But before the whipping part or the lining up, it's wild. You would line up in this line, and they're actually keeping count. If I require you to pick 300 pounds of cotton for the day, and everybody's getting literally, you have to fill your quota, like in call centers, or if you work at these places where you have to sell their goods, and there's some kind of penalty. Today they can't whip you necessarily, but they might whip you financially. And there was no difference oftentimes between the adult and the child. They might give a slight, and also the pregnant woman or the elderly. All of this was all up in the pot. Before this point, his mother told him something when he was going in the field. She said, remember, there's two faces that you're supposed to have. You're supposed to have the face for the European and the face for yourself. And his brother told him a kind of parable that his father told him, that even though you have to pretend dumb, and I think I tweeted these things, I was live tweeting, so at the end of this conversation, you'll see the live tweets. If you're listening, don't get caught up so much in the emotion. Hear what they're saying, that even though you have to pretend like you're dumb, like you lack sense, doesn't mean that you are. Don't begin believing that, because, and he also said to him, you might see things that will make you mad, but don't show it. So this taught the man, the woman, and the child to repress their emotions, to stop the flow of that energy. And this is what has lodged within our bodies as a community, as a nation of people. This inability, because like I said in other videos, Master had an issue. If you did not smile, it's really sadistic. Like I said, it's late, so please bear with me. It was really a sadistic type of terroristic institution where you did not have a right to be human. You could not express your discontent. You could not show that, because if you showed, why are you so melancholy, boy? Hey, gal, no matter that I did all of these things to you that caused you to feel this way, you were not allowed to express yourself. And this is why today you hear black people don't go to therapy, or black people don't know how to express themselves, or quote unquote black people don't know how to have a conversation, because for so long you were not allowed to express yourself, you were not allowed to get justice, you were not allowed to have conversations, and you were not allowed to talk about what troubled you. There was a whole veil of secrecy, even amongst the family. They told each other, never mind that, child. They taught you to live in a space of denial, and if you were one who could not take that, they would brand you as being crazy and troublesome and a troublemaker. So understand, this is a culture that was created. If someone is getting molested, be quiet, don't say anything. If someone is getting abused, be quiet, don't say anything. If you speak up, you're the troublemaker. Why? Because you're going to shine light on the perpetrators, which at this point in time would have been Master. It would have been the system of white supremacy. It would have been those who you could never take to court, because in this space and time, a slave was not allowed, as they say on their books, to take the master to court. And also I was reading in, I'm reading like 50 million books right now. And what's her name? Her name escapes me. It will come back. But she testifies to the fact that, they were taught, Europeans would say, don't believe what slaves have to say. So we're going to go on, because I don't want to ramble. I told y'all it's a little late, and I'm kind of going in right now. But this woman, I believe her name is Elizabeth, she swears that she's going to be an abolitionist, and she's committed to the cause. And so she took up Moses' little child. Remember, the mother died. The father seems that he died. And now she feels like she is going to take in this orphan and protect her with her own, let's just say, not virginity because she's married, but with her own virtue. And if you've been seeing the man who's sniffing around, it looks like they were maybe childhood friends, or he had a crush on her from childhood. I don't know the fullness of his story, but he's always been sniffing around her even though she's married. And now he sees a prime opportunity. He's become the sheriff of the town, and he's seen a prime opportunity to get at her. And so we see here justice, quote unquote, of their laws, quote unquote, being corrupted by human desire, human greed. So he's always wanted her, even though she's married. And now that he finds that she's, quote, doing some illegal activity by harboring a runaway, he's down with the cause. He'll keep her secrets. And so now she feels filthy and nasty, bathing herself in her copper tub, because in order to keep the secret of the runaway, well, we're going to see whether or not he keeps it, because there's no justice and there's no honor in this among thieves. You understand? So I don't even really know if he's going to keep a secret or if he's going to try to steal her away from the husband. Who knows what this dude's going to do, because he's already corrupted. But in this scene, I thought it was just interesting because I saw so many tweets talking about how virtuous she was. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't sit with me well. It really doesn't sit with me well, this whole thought that in order to protect the slave in a corrupted system, she's going to violate her commitment that she has already made, a covenant that precedes this particular situation. Should she have given up the child? No. I think she was a bit careless in her movement. She wasn't prepared. I think as she was having the conversation with the young girl, she actually found out that she was one of the making seven, and the guy just happened to, because he's been lurking around the house, you understand? He's been sniffing around, so he just happened in, and he played Inspector Gadget, found 2 teacups, happened to find out where she was hiding the slave. I think that whole thing, he might have had a rat. I don't know what was going on with there, but nonetheless, she threw herself in the midst of it. And we're going to have to see. I don't know much about that one. This is interesting. For me, I'm like, wow, they just brought the whole dining table outside. But anyway, that's another story. They just brought the whole dining table. And so the Reverend is playing holier than thou. In this scene, the young boy is taken out to, quote, stop playing with childish strings and learn to take over the empire that his father has built, which is the one who's sitting here, and his ambition is just to be mayor or whatever he wants to be of Macon, Georgia. At this point, the pastor, the Reverend, is talking so much about how you have to break the wild female mare or horse, and the young man is conflicted about breaking this horse and using physical abuse. They touch a little bit on the Willie Lynch letter. If you're familiar with the Willie Lynch letter, you hear about breaking the female so that she can bring up her children, who at which point would be easier to control. And so this is what he's going into. Again, if you're listening to this, please don't just get sucked up into the emotion. Compare it against the slave narratives that you may be reading. Compare it against the history, so hopefully you can understand the psychology of what we're dealing with. Not just to say, quote, black people are off or they're crazy. We can identify the injury not only as a community but also within ourselves. So this pastor, while he's painting in the blood of slaves, is, let's just say, a bit self-righteous. Okay, more than a bit. And Ernestine has fallen out of her role of thinking that she can offer her body to this system of abuse, to this peculiar institution, to this white supremacy, and think that she's going to get justice. She's not feeling it anymore. And actually her son said, is there something you can do? And she's non-responsive. It looks like she's lost hope in being able to navigate around this institution. Here is Sam coming to try to buy his son's freedom. His master, which would be his son, his brother, not son, sorry, his brother's father, that's in my estimation, he paid him he made the desk. So he was admiring the desk. He's a carpenter, Sam is, and he was paid for the desk, and he's coming to try to buy his brother's freedom because he understands that his brother was brought up in the big house and that he doesn't think his brother's going to be able to fare outside in the field with the field slaves. And he's afraid for his brother's life, thinking that the overseer, because of being angry about the escape of the others, is going to take it out on this young child and probably do him some great harm. what's interesting in what this man says, this master, this overseer, when he tries to do so, to buy his freedom, he says, I don't think I could, basically paraphrasing, part with my most prime Negro or nigger. He says, I wouldn't do well. I would be a bad businessman. He says, because he thinks that Sam was trying to buy his own freedom. He's like, you're going to need 5 of those jars, meaning at least $500. And he couldn't let him go for less than that, because of the artistic work that he does, because he wants him to build a grand stage for him to go out into his politics. So again, this institution is all about me, what I can get from you, how I can exact your labor, and how you benefit me. And when you no longer benefit me, you have to go. Now, this is the scene that so many people are broke up about. This one is going a little long. I'm making up for some of the ones that I went short on. This little boy is talking to his half-brother, whether he knows or not, and telling him that when he gets big, this is going to be his plantation and he can change things. And now the little boy who's out in the field and really not trying to hear that, you understand, is like, well, how long? And the little boy's like, well, 10 years, I don't know, maybe more. And he's like, ain't nobody trying to hear all that. So little shorty tries to offer him his candy. And the little boy who's now turned field Negro is like, yo, I don't want your candy. And understand that that is all it took. After how many years, however old they are, 7, 8 years of being playmates, playing together, he says, I don't want your candy. And automatically, this one incidence of rejection lets all of that go through the window, and he's about to rap. So here are just some of my thoughts, and I'm going to wrap it up here. As I was watching it real time, you can pause it, go back over it, and look at some of my thoughts as I was watching this. I want to thank you for tuning in. My name is Amuna Yisrael 1. This has been the LEV Project Underground Series Review.